reign supreme. Earthworms, laser eyes, burning lights. Savage desire and planets blind, planets blind. Zoids stronger, planets blind. Planets stronger, planets blind. Oh, so blind, planets blind. Acorns, laser eyes, burning bright. Centipedes, electric despair. Circuits of war, pulse, crimson dream. In the end, it reigns supreme. Living noise with your eyes, burning bright. Savage desire, planets blind. Zoids of the lost back, guardians call. Mechanical chaos will fall. Echoes, footages, don't be a shadow flame. Digital prowess, wars, wicked game. Cross and wheels, scream red, music, fights. Emerald eyes, search for light. Zoe lights. Digital prowess, wars, wicked game. Cross and wheels, scream red, music, fights. Emerald eyes, search for lights. Search for lights. There's to be a shadow's flame. Zoids and the bass. The red horn forged with iron, steel, and brass. Built to face the hellic Godzilla Zoid. The Xenobass red horn won't be destroyed. Crush your horn, he'll smash any bunker. With layer cannon, red horns, no junker. With two-barrel beam gun, he screams the skies, shooting down hellic Zoids amid their cries. Now beware the walking fortress red horn. Rival to Godzilla, he breaks the scorn. Xenobass forged, adopted by Gylos. Styrannosaurus Zoid, red horn brings woes. Brings woes. Though Xenobass falls, the red horn remains. With schematics, the Zoid is Gylos' gains. From its blueprints, Gylos' dark horn is made. Gylos' empire has its new dark Zoid blade. But with the end of the war, dark horn falls. Resources gone, old Zoids answer the calls. Revive the red horn Zoid to serve once more. Now he serves Gylos, sees the hellic Zoids roar. Now beware the walking fortress red horn. Rival to Godzilla, he breaks the scorn. Xenobass forged, adopted by Gylos. Styrannosaurus Zoid, red horn brings woes. But with the end of the war, dark horn falls. Resources gone, old Zoids answer the calls. Revive the red horn Zoid to serve once more. Now he serves Gylos, sees the hellic shore. Now beware the walking fortress red horn. Rival to Godzilla, he brings the scorn. Xenobass forged, adopted by Gylos. Styrannosaurus Zoid, red horn brings woes. Now in this new Zoid war, we must look back. Old Zoids designs reforged for the attack. Gylos' army would send a Zoids built. Mass-produced red horn, the hellic Zoids wield. Now beware the walking fortress red horn. Rival to Godzilla, he breaks the scorn. Xenobass forged, adopted by Gylos. Styrannosaurus Zoid, red horn brings woes. Brings woes.